Thank you everyone for joining us. We are on episode 18.
14.
See, I've started it wrong already.
No, we can keep that in, it's fine. If my error's staying.
We are on episode 14, our first episode of 2026.
26, that's scary.
That is really scary, yeah. Yeah.
And we've got a really extra special guest today. I've been really excited to get on this podcast for a while. Wes, say hello, introduce yourself.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Wes. I live in Bristol. I've been a foster carer now for 6 years. And I have a son who is 17, and I adopted him when he was 4.
Amazing.
And yeah, he's a big boy now. Then when I became single, I was like, right, how am I going to look after more kids? How am I going to create some more magic and, you know, keep children safe? And I looked into fostering. So I've been doing that now for just over 6 years. And the little lad I have with me came here when he was 5. He is now 12. And I'm nearly at the very end of the process of adopting him. And then I'm going to foster whoever needs a room next.
Amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing.
Love it.
Oh, fantastic. So people might have seen us working with Wes
a
couple of times on a few different platforms. But this is the first time we've got you onto our podcast, Wes.
It's real life.
It's real life, yeah.
I'm on the back of a bus
or
in a house with a fake child.
Yeah, who knows? And we've got some fun plans coming forward for the rest of 26 where you might see you with a nice snazzy outfit on. Not as snazzy as the Christmas jumper.
See, this is the Buddy the Elf one, all
Love
the way
it.
from Las Vegas.
Oh, amazing.
Nice.
I like that.
I didn't ship it. I bought it and wore it home.
So how did you come about, how long ago did you start fostering and kind of become a foster carer?
So yes, about 6 years.
Yeah.
I'd always wanted children. And when I met my partner at the time, we then got married and we talked about how we're going to have children. We looked at surrogacy. And then I said to him, why don't we look into the roads of adoption? And it was something we took a lot of time thinking about. And we went down that process and it was amazing. Really good. Best thing we did. We stayed together for quite a while throughout the being parents. Our relationship didn't work out, but we're still really good friends. He's remarried and he's remarried to a great role model for my teenager. We're a nice little circle. We all get on really good. And then, I decided, I still want to be a parent and a role model for all sorts of children in all sorts of circumstances. So, I looked into fostering and about 6 years now it's gone quick.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I bet it has. And thinking back to that, was there a reason you chose like local council rather than sort of any of the other routes you could go down?
Honestly, there is a big reason. I have a friend who was also fostering and she was fostering through an agency. And she said, go through the council, West. And a roundabout way, she said generally when she was doing it, if she'd have gone through the process again, she'd have chosen the council because she knows you get a lot more support. There is a lot more training available and there's people that are in all sorts of positions of different areas that will really help and benefit. She's had a good ride and she's been okay with it, but she wished she'd have started with the council first. So she was my main factor.
Nice.
We talked about that in one of our previous podcasts when we were down meeting with Dorset and BCP. And one of the things that really came out about local authority fostering is its local support.
Yeah.
So your social worker is in the same local authority, the child social worker is in the same local authority, you're training other foster carers. It's the locality, isn't it, that can be really important, as well as the fact that there's additional support. But I think that's one of the things that's really unique about local authority fostering.
Yeah, definitely. And the IFAs and the private agencies have their place. Absolutely, we couldn't be without them. But we look at that and we talk about 1 in 5 children being moved more than 20 miles from home.
Yeah.
Actually having that localised support, that localised offering does help long term for both children looked after and foster carers.
It's interesting though, because most residents don't often champion their local councils.
Yeah.
Most have an opinion over bin collections, road bumps, all sorts of things. But I'm really lucky having worked with my council. I can actually see the positive side of it. I know people do have their judgment and stereotypes and all sorts, but I've definitely made the right choice. And even for my next step, as I said, I'm looking to foster more. I'm 100% sticking with my local council by far.
I'll tell South Glos you said that. They'll be
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah, I think local authority, like you say, it's that local support, but
Yeah.
it's also keeping children local, isn't it?
100%.
Like having to move more than 20 miles away from where you know, the people that you know, the friends that you know, the school that you know, that's really an awful lot of change and move. And if we can help keep children kind of more local, like you are, Wes, I think that's really important.
Definitely, it gives that a little bit of continuity when you're going through such a period of change.
Yeah.
Actually, to know sort of some of those environments around you, having some of those familiar faces, some of those familiar landmarks, actually does so much for children.
Do you know, I mean, on the spot, do you know if councils, how we have access to things like the mood bears?
Yeah.
There's, I can't remember his name, the guy that he didn't like seeing a child relocate with a black bin bag.
Mad Lugs.
Mad luck, yes.
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 Are all of those available to agencies, or is that council first, I wonder?
So my understanding is,
Yeah.
and Ian might correct me if I'm wrong,
Uh-oh.
there are a lot of things that there are benefits to being local authority.
Yeah.
But Madlug is more around the child.
Yeah.
And so less so about where that child may be living. They absolutely want to
Yeah.
work and support with local authorities, but their priority is children.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Madlug especially, they've really leaned into sort of working with Fostering Southwest. They've been brilliant, actually. They're hoping to be a future guest on the podcast. They're really keen. They really supported our campaign in September, and have donated sort of backpacks and some of their offerings. But yeah, they're places like that, but actually there are opportunities that local council foster carers get first. Like we talk about some of the Mood Bears stuff and some of the training and development pieces, actually. And Mockingbird. So
Yeah.
Mockingbird's a big one. Mockingbird's only licensable to local councils,
It is.
whereas a lot of other places might have Mockingbird Light.
Yeah.
Actually, to be a pure Mockingbird, it has to be local council.
It does, because you need local foster carers living near each other for the model to be able to work.
Yeah.
And that's why it works within a local authority, because foster carers live close to each other.
I mean, it's just interesting because we're looking and we're talking quite in depth about council or agencies. Obviously, how we are as foster carers, and then how social workers and all the team involved. I wonder as well what children's sort of aspect and opinion is. If they've ever gone from a council to an agency, they feel, well, actually, I felt more supported as myself, even with like staying put and the care afterwards. I wonder how it contrasts for their point of view.
Yeah.
It's a really good question.
I mean, I worked in a children in care team for a long time before I kind of moved into this role. And one of the difficulties is supporting young people who aren't in local authority homes when they are beyond 18.
Yeah.
And one of the things that local authorities are very much kind of promoting, supporting and trying to ensure is that any young person, particularly in a local authority home, it doesn't automatically end at their 18th birthday. There is that lifelong commitment. And that was one of the challenges when children weren't necessarily, when they were outside of a local authority fostering, is, around that 17, 18 time. And that's really hard. Like I look back and I think actually not many people, particularly in current society with finances, leave home at 17 or 18.
No.
We're talking into kind of 20s and 30s because of financial reasons. No,
Thanks,
not at all, Ian. So we want to keep that as natural and supportive environment as possible for our young people.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, is part of as well being staying local.
I remember a young lad who had been through everything to do with the council in foster care, and then post 18, he actually was somebody that came to I think it was Skills to Fostering when I started my training. He was somebody that came along and gave examples of being in the system, and he was so positive and so engaging. And I don't know, again, if you're with sort of private agencies, how you work around that or anything like that at all. But I know just knowing his story and being able to come and go back, and I think he's an actual some sort of advocate now as well for young children. So that was amazing to see.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at
Yeah,
Emily.
Emily and Pete,
when we kind of had Emily on, Yeah, with her dinosaur, you know,
Yeah.
that again, continued support into adulthood and gaining more independence, but still having her home
Yeah.
and her family and those connections. Yeah, still absolutely massively important.
And it normalises it, like we sort of said. Like, as a teenager, you wouldn't just all of a sudden think, oh, I'm 17, it's time for me to start worrying about where I'm going to be after my next birthday.
Yeah.
Why should it be any different for children just because they're looked after?
And some local authorities now are doing something called lifelong links. So that might be for young people who have maybe lived outside of local authority and maybe have come back, and they might kind of connect them with a family. So they may not live with them, but they're connected with them. So they may go over for like roast dinners on a Sunday, or they've got someone to call when their washing machine breaks and they need someone to come and do a load of washing. Those bits and kind of helping to seeing them through into their 20s and into their 30s. They've got that local connection. So, you know, for any young person who hasn't had that kind of support locally or that foster carer to be able to support them. So yeah, I think we understand more now about the impact of leaving care, and that actually leaving care is actually just the ending of a legal parameter of being a child,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't actually mean leaving care, because it is still the nurture, the support, that helping hand, that having those people in your corner to advocate and ask for help and support. And I think we're learning an awful lot more of now about what our young people who are care experienced need and how we can make it even better for them.
And we had Holly in the previous episode
Yeah.
gave some really nice examples of actually how when she talks about the children she's adopted, actually their future, she talks about, in 11 years time when you're learning to drive, you can give me a lift somewhere. And it reinforces that idea of actually you'll be there with them. It's not just saying, I'll still be there in 11 years time. It's giving that practical example of where you see them in your life. So it's actually a really nice way of thinking around it.
I think growing up when I was young, do you know what I used to think of the word foster care? I used to think of Pippa from Home and Away,
Yes.
and on Cilla Black, Surprise, Surprise, when she would talk about someone being a foster carer, and then all of a sudden around her, the whole audience surrounding her was her children she'd looked after, and they were there to surprise her.
Yeah.
And I just remember that feeling, thinking, wow, can you imagine being there for however many children and still in your life when you're old and grey and they've grown up, they've had children. And even sort of more recent times, I remember on Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway, they did things like that when they gave away trips to the Florida, when they would have a foster care in the audience and say, you've looked after this many children and here they are. And I just see myself, you know, being a parent in any capacity for as many kids as I can. And I just want to have like a huge, massive Christmas dinner table with as many of the kids I've had and their kids, you know, going on until as I can. I don't think anything stops, even when I control my son's technology. So I'll control, he's 17. And I'll say, right, it's 10:30, you've got work early tomorrow, I'm turning off your Snapchat. And he'll go, are you still going to do that when I'm 18, Dad? I'm like, are you still going to be living at my house, son? There's your answer.
Yeah, it's like that. Oh, the Wi-Fi magically goes off at 9:30 at night. How does this happen? It's,
But I think I've met some kind of foster carers that have fostered, you know, kind of 100, 150 young people. You know, they've been fostering for like 40, 50 years. And it is just absolutely amazing. There's one foster carer I know that every year around summer she will have like an open garden party, and all of the previous children that she's ever cared for will come back and they'll bring their children with them, and she has this big garden party every year.
That's so nice. It's nice to celebrate those things because it is like past, but it's the future as well. And I think that's what a lot of people don't talk about so much. I think I know Wes, we've had loads of conversations about this and all the amazing stuff that we've talked about and you're planning and down the line. It's so great, but we speak to a lot of foster carers, and when they're talking about that relationship, it's always kind of looking back. But actually, by looking forward, what you're able to do is instill that level of confidence in that child or young person that actually you see yourself in their life and you're not going away. And actually the trust that can build and the stability that can build just helps build those relationships.
It's the words as well. Like, you know, if you talk to people or you meet a stranger and they say, what do you do for a living? And you say, I'm a foster carer. You can see that instant, you know, they go, wow, that's amazing that you do that. I don't think I've ever had a negative reaction to say that I give care to people that need it. And I know tons of people that have been inspired. I have to give myself a pat on the back. People that have been inspired by me. And I'll always be there to, tell people the positives. That if they ask me what are the negatives, I'll be honest. But it's saying those words and instilling it how positive it is, especially to the young lad I've got. So there'll be a time where he'll have his review, and I'll have about 4 or 5 social workers around the house. I think it was around Halloween, and he was dressed as a demigorgon on Stranger Things.
Class.
And his independent officer came in, and he was like, "Rah!" And then I taught him how to make a cup of tea, and he would ask everyone, "Who wants a cup of tea?" And at the time, his friends were playing out the front, and he just sort of opened the door and he went, "I'm just making all my social workers a cup of tea."
Oh, I love it.
And he was proud to say that. He wasn't, I know it's very difficult for some children, but he was proud to say that, and that he was happy in that situation. He knows his story, and he knows what the future coming with the adoption. But it is just those, being able to say those words of what you do, and then ongoing, like, I'm still going to keep doing it, and I want to keep doing it until I can't not.
And it's not about kind of, you mentioned something there about kind of fostering, and kind of being proud. And fostering isn't about replacing a child's birth family.
Not at all.
It really isn't. Fostering is about extending
Yeah.
that child's world and that child's community and that child's support. Because it may be that the plan is to support that child that you're caring for to be able to go home, but it's expanding their community, and it's not the replacement, and it's adding to, isn't it? And it's that enrichment, and it's not instead of,
Yeah.
it's as well as.
Very much. I mean, I have very open dialogues with my little lad about his family, and some he may not have seen in a long time, but I'll still refer back. And when we'll do an activity or we'll go somewhere, he'll go, "I remember coming here with so and so." And I'll just get him to elaborate and really embellish and remember everything. And, it's very difficult sometimes as a carer not to have a judgment or an opinion and say negative things, because I wouldn't put a child in the situation that they've been put in. That's me personally, and it is difficult sometimes to hold back on your own opinion. But I've always tried to stay positive and talk positive about family, how they're made up. I was married to a man, and I adopted a child, so that's the complete different to the ideal family and sort of perfect world. And I think a lot more things in social media now, films, TV, there's a lot more showing youngsters how families are made up. They might have 2 mums, they could have 3 mums, they could have anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blended families,
Yeah.
isn't it? Like, there is no such typical
Yeah.
typical family anymore, and it's about the blending of and having as many cheerleaders in that child's life as possible.
100%. I mean, you're looking after someone that hasn't had the chances, like the typical, we keep saying that word, the typical lifestyle, the typical child. So I try and treat them the typical way I do my child that I adopted. So I've just become a parent the natural way of how I was parented. I lived with my mum and dad all my life. They're still together. They're my role models. I inspire to be exactly like them. And I just hope the way I raise children that, aren't necessarily mine from the get-go, but I try and raise them the way that I was, so that they'll then do the same for theirs.
You mentioned, Wes, about how it can be hard sometimes, kind of conflicts with your own personal values, but it's not about having those conversations with the children. What's the support network like for you to be able to kind of explore your own values, and around kind of the support within your agency?
So obviously social workers, I'll have one, he has one. Admittedly, we have been through quite a fair through. I think my little lad now is on his 23rd
Oh, bless him.
Wow.
in a 6-year period, but we try and remember each one within 2 sets of questions. We'll say, "What's your favourite colour? What's your favourite food?"
I love that.
So we try and remember the different workers we've had, but they've all been the same supportive, that they have to be with him. And I have shared with each worker in the past over family time. If something was planned and it didn't go to plan, it didn't work, and I'll vent my frustration. Oh, how could somebody let them down? But it's just, knowing how to word it, being able to comfortably say that I'm really open and honest. I'll always tell you how I feel. Not just having the workers, my circle is really important to me. I have a really close relationship with my mum and dad. I have some very close relationships with my friends, my ex, my references when I start the process. And as you can tell, I like to talk.
We wouldn't change you. It's perfect.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think the relationship that you have with your kind of social worker and your support is kind of really important, and I think that is a lot of changes of social worker for that child. However, you've been able to be that constant, and you've been able to explore how to best support that child through those changes. Like, yeah, okay, we may have another social worker. What can we remember? What can we take from this? And it is a lot for that child, absolutely, having that many changes and repeating their story. But you seem to have approached that very much from a strength space, particularly with him as well.
It's like you just said, his being able to share his story. He doesn't mind sharing his story. It is his. My son, who was adopted, going through primary school, secondary school, whenever we met anyone new, I always let him lead the way. It's his story, how he wants it to come across. And the same with the lad I have now. It's everything on his terms, how he best, portray himself. And, kids will say things. Kids can be mean, but also kids can be really positive. And like when mine have said, "Oh, I've got this, this, and this," and they go, "What? Your dad does all those cool things?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I went and bought a 7-seater car. I used to have a lovely little funny sports car for myself. Traded it in so I could take as many kids out swimming and the cinema as much as I can." But it is the way that they tell their own story, and although he's had to repeat it many a time, I think it's actually really helped. It's been a positive for him because he's not afraid to talk about it. And it is something, as a positive, especially our next journey going forward, that he might not have to say as much.
So, other than changing car, thinking about your journey so far, what have been some of the unique challenges maybe you faced or?
Oh, I mean, being single, being a man, being a gay man, you think, God, that's loads of challenges. I've actually had a very easy journey, I think, throughout my whole life. Even being able to come out, I say the word come out, being able to just say who I am. I've always been quite, if you have an opinion, you're entitled to that. People have opinions about all sorts of things. I'm not going to judge you for feeling a certain way. The only time I will ever question it if they question my parenting skills, of how I've raised these children, how I'm becoming a role model. I might have someone for a weekend, but have I made an impact on them in a positive way? And I mean, just changing my car was just so that things could be better. But I think just realizing that, you can do these things on your own. You can do them as a single man, if that's what you want to do. It is just sometimes being aware that there is noise out there, but if you need to put your headphones on or something and block out the noise. It's as long as what you're doing is right for you, because obviously I also have to think about me. Yes, I'm thinking about I'm looking after those children, but I have to think about, is it right for me? Am I need to do and I feel comfortable with. That makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's finding, don't you say, there can be a lot of noise, a lot of things going on in the background, but it's finding your people, your support network, those people around you that can support you as well.
I think you said earlier about with the council, you'll have other foster carers as well to lean on and talk to. Sometimes that's amazing. Sometimes it can be negative because other foster carers might not have had such a brilliant time of it, or they may have had a few issues. There may have been things that have gone wrong. And then you're also taking on sometimes their issues. And I remember from the beginning trying not to be part of tons of WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
Because I even hate them at the school. The WhatsApp. Oh,
We've had conversations about WhatsApp groups at schools today, so I can only, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
you just have to always think about, it's not a selfish thing. You do have to think about yourself. And I remember sometimes it getting a bit too much in the beginning. And I was new to this, and I had foster carers, like you say, doing it 20, 30 years, going, well, I've got this, and this. And you just have to think about yourself. And if you are doing it on your own, even if you're doing it as a couple, you think about each other. And if you're doing the right thing the right way, and trying not to listen sometimes to the noise.
No, I like that. And you talked there about sort of being single and fostering. You work alongside it as well, don't you? You do some pretty exciting stuff with your work. Tell everyone about that, and how do you find that?
So growing up, I was quite confident. I loved being on the stage. I did things like panto. I worked behind the scenes on a TV show. I thought, oh yeah, I could be famous. I wasn't necessarily wanting to be famous to get autographs and photos, but I always thought, oh, if people remember me and like me, that's great. And I think I started alongside my sales jobs. I was always in sales. I was always on the phone talking about car insurance. Then I got into banking, and I would sit face to face. I would help someone of an older age, look after their savings, or I'd help a youngster open their first account. So I was always good at interacting and talking with all sorts of ages. But in the background, when I was available, I remember starting as a karaoke DJ.
Amazing.
Friday and Saturday night here in Bristol. It was called New World, a Chinese karaoke buffet. And it was heaving. We used to get packed. And I used to sing a song to start the night off. It was Keep On Moving by Five.
Love it.
Nice.
Love it. Good choice.
And I remember my boyfriend at the time bought me my first sort of mixing desk and all my kit. And then with my dad, I built like a mixing desk setup, and I started DJing at parties, school events, kids' birthday parties. Alongside it, I then managed to find a group of friends that loved singing. We formed a very cheesy tribute band to the one and only Steps.
Amazing.
I love Steps.
Love it.
Tragedy.
100%. Oh, you've done it wrong. It's like that. You keep your hands still.
Come on, Carrie, you should know
Sorry.
That's last thing on my mind. Growing up, big Steps fan, and the tribute band. I used to ring up the most random of festivals, like a festival in Reading or a Pride event, and go, yeah, hi, we're this, and this. You need to book us. And I would work my magic and just get us on the list. And then we supported, I think we did Liberty X, supported Blue, and we got some really fun gigs. And that was just all of our spare time. We all worked, but we all loved performing. And then it just changed into winning a talent show. And then the lady who ran it said, will you host next year? And it was a Christmas light switch on. And she had someone from Coronation Street, can't remember who. And I said, look, next year we need to go big. So I managed to get Peter Andre. And then from there, we managed to get Steps, S Club, Atomic Kitten.
Amazing.
And I used to just go on a Thursday night down to the local shopping centre, hop on the stage in front of thousands of people, and just get them geared up for the Christmas lights. And in the background, my son, I think he was 6 at the time, Peter called him on stage because I told him he liked Michael Jackson. And he took the limelight. He stole my thunder.
Aww.
He was on the news. He was in the papers. He danced like Michael Jackson with Pete. I was like, okay, I need to let him have a bit of shine now.
I love it.
Yeah, just, alongside fostering, I do little things like I do these Harry Potter themed, wizardy themed potion classes where I go to Comic Cons. We set up a huge gazebo, welcome kids and adults dressed up.
Yeah.
And then they make a Patronus punch with a bit of dry ice. I do them as private events. And even for Halloween in my new house, I managed to go all out, and I put a huge gazebo on my drive and had my 3 besties dress up as the Sanderson sisters. And we had over 100 or 200 kids outside. I was giving away free popcorn. But yeah, just being able to do little things that are my passion alongside, I am available all the time for the kids, but having those things alongside that for me in the beginning was always really important. Still doing the things I love and the things I love doing. The kids loved it at first. They're a little bit, no, it's enough now, Dad.
Dad, you're embarrassing me. It's fair. Yeah.
Embarrassing dad stuff now.
I like it.
And I totally get where they're coming from. But yeah, being able to still do those things as a passion and things that I really enjoy doing. And I love being creative. coming up with ideas. I remember putting on a Hocus Pocus themed Halloween show for 2 years in a row, wrote the script, did the songs, rehearsed with my besties alongside everything else I do. It's just nice to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
And I love DIY. I love building and helping my dad out. And if anyone needs a favour, my friends would describe me as almost like the mafia in a good way. If you need something, ask Wes.
Go to
He'll
Wes.
find-
I
Love
like
it.
To be fair, it sounds like me as well. If I'm like, I need something, Wes.
Yeah.
Can you help? You give me
Yes,
the bus
you do.
back in the airport.
Yes,
Yeah, sorry everyone.
But it is really important that you're not lost in fostering. That foster carers, you are still you, and do the things that you love, and that bring you joy as well. And unfortunately for you, you've been able to combine the two things. But having that time and that space for you as well, and your friendship groups, and your support outside of fostering, it is important.
I mean, they've all had children the typical way. So, I think I'm the only one that's a foster carer of my circle, but all the kids play together the same.
Yes.
We all do the same things. I think I might do more things than them because I'm just, crazy that way.
Yeah.
I love it, and it normalises it. It just brings it into natural conversation, makes all these setups seem normal to everyone involved, as it should be.
Yeah, definitely. So we're kind of ignoring the obvious that we're all in Christmas jumpers.
Fair.
What's Christmas like in your house, Wes?
What do you think it's like?
I want to come. That's
I
what.
know.
I want to be there.
I literally cannot wait to see it all, all dressed and decked out.
I've had a sneak preview, to be fair. I have seen it, and I can confirm it's amazing.
Thanks, Ian. I think any celebration, Easter, I love being able to go to Home Bargains, grab loads of the cheap little plastic eggs, filling them with clues, getting the kids, he was 16, even getting my son to put on a pair of bunny ears, walk around the garden, any excuse. I think when you go out into the world and you're out shopping and everyone's talking about something or everyone's displaying something, Valentine's, Easter, whatever it is, Halloween, you just get involved where you can. And I remember growing up having the memories of Christmas. And I remember going around my nan and granddad's, having a dinner, all my aunties and uncles there. They would come round with their Christmas presents, normally in a huge black bin bag.
Yeah.
And I have all these gifts. Gifts are the best thing. They are the best thing about Christmas. Being able to give something to someone that they're going to appreciate and love. You hope. It gets more tough the older they get.
The older they get, yes.
Fair.
But I remember our son moved in on the 6th of December. So it was very close to Christmas. And obviously we'd adopted him and we'd met him before, but he was getting used to us. And I remember doing all the things like putting a cookie out,
Yeah.
parrot, the milk,
Getting ready
looking
for
out
Father
the
Christmas.
windowsill, reading a Christmas story and him saying Farmer Christmas and talking about his boots and just, having those memories with him. And my dad used to always wake me up and go, he's been. And I remember saying the same thing to my boys. And even now, when it comes to Christmas, yes, I'll decorate. Yes, I'll go way over the top. I'll buy all the Christmas cutlery, all the
Love
Christmas toiletries. And I mean, there are toiletries. You can get Santa soap dispensers.
You can.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll go all in. I'll go all out. But then I'll remember, let's do the memory things. Let's go for the walk with the dog, although he wears a Christmas jumper. Let's have some friends over. Let's, get together. It is an excuse to do all those things around that time of year. But it's just, Christmas morning for some children isn't always beautiful, isn't always amazing memory making. So, I have to just go from the beginning with the little lad I've got. From the beginning as, is it going to be okay? Is it all right like this? And just realizing even a birthday, it could be a negative memory. It may or may not. But yeah, being able to celebrate all those cool things like everybody else does, decorate the house, go a bit crazy, and just have fun. I don't try not to stress about it. Although I have got everything nearly bought, and it's nearly all wrapped as well. I'm not
Organised. I like it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm halfway there. Are you further behind?
Let's change the subject.
Moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on.
It can be difficult for children, especially children in care, very much so, and I know that. And even at Easter, we used to take our leftover Easter eggs to a local charity. And I remember saying to my son, well, why are we doing this? And he was like, well, some kids can't have it, can they? That it's just been able to, it's made me think now, I wonder if there's something I can do this year where I've moved to recently. I wonder if there's something I can do this year to help some others. I'll have a look into that.
And I guess it's about making new memories,
Yeah.
but it might also be about finding out what their traditions may have been before.
100%.
Like you say, there may have been some difficult times, so it might be that there are some difficult kind of emotions and feelings that come up, but there might be typical things that they do, like maybe they leave, for Father Christmas, leave mince pies instead of cookies, or what it is that they might do, and finding out what they need or what they would like to do, as well as making potential new memories as well.
Yeah. And obviously some children might have, the opposite. They might not have any traditions.
Yes.
They might not
Yeah.
have had anything. And it's going to be all new to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Absolutely.
spoke to Joe about that in the first podcast. Joe Blake.
We
Wiltshire.
did.
Yes.
Yeah.
About how on New Year's Eve they were like, we don't have any traditions, so they threw open those French doors.
They did.
And threw some mugs out, and it was the recognition of like the breaking of the old and welcoming in the new year.
Yes.
Yeah, I butchered that as an explanation of what Joe does. So Joe, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry. I will loop back to the other podcast where you give a much better explanation. But yeah, it's just important. It's finding your niche and respecting, like you say, what's been and building on that. But actually, for those that haven't had the opportunity, that's what's really important.
Yeah. And it's the same for all celebrations,
100%.
isn't it? Or kind of religious festivals or kind of birthdays, whatever it might be. It's finding out, what's important to that young person, to that child, learning what we can about experiences that they might have had, and appreciating and supporting that, and being able to do the things that they may have done that they want to do again, and also create some new ones. Yeah. Love that.
Love it. So,
Okay.
looking forward,
Yeah.
what's next?
Well, massively, obviously, adopting my little lad. I mean, he's 12 now. We've talked about adoption for a long time. Now is going to be the right time for us all. And then it will be being able to use our 4th bedroom to welcome anyone else in the home. I remember when I started my journey, I think I was approved in the month of August, and my first placement didn't arrive until January the 2nd. And she came to me on a very short-term basis. We knew it was going to be short-term. We knew eventually she would go back home to Dad. So I was able to realise what sort of attachment I could build with her and what sort of positive influence I could be. And it was great. It was fantastic. I really helped her transition of going back home to Dad. And then the day after, the little man come to me at 5. He's now 12. And it's just looking forward to a challenge. I quite like an idea of a challenge. As carers, we have to do training. We have to review it every 3 years on some things, or every year. I've just redone my first aid course this week. I've got a child protection one coming up, and it's just refreshing all of that, ready for the next step. Because yes, I've had an amazing journey. I've had a very successful first couple of placements, but they may not be the next time. But I am up for the challenge, and seeing if I can set myself a few goals. I do like to set myself something, or what can I do this year? What can I do to help, or anything that way? So I think, that's what's next, and lots more of the usual fun, crazy house we have. Of just, I always say it to my friends on a happy birthday or anything. I always say, oh, you're making memories. You're making things that are important. Because back in the day, we didn't have phones. We didn't have social media. Those memories are either on little Polaroids or on 8mm. And now we capture everything. We're always whipping the phone out. We're always filming, always doing that. And I try and print those and make albums, big key events. And it is making those things, those core memories, what's really, really important. And even sat down for a lunch or a dinner with my kids in a restaurant, instead of our phones, because we never have them out, we always do a quiz. And I'll always ask them random questions. Do you remember when we went to Florida? What was our room number? Where did we go on the second day? I always try and make them remember. Things go so fast. And we do forget stuff. I might forget something I did yesterday, but I can remember key major things from years back. And some of these children would have had some traumatic, horrible memories. So the more new ones, better ones I can help them make, the better.
Amazing.
I love it.
Well, we look forward to hearing more about
Yeah.
it.
I'll
and
be in
having
touch.
you-
I should hope so.
Yes. Getting you back on our podcast and
Absolutely.
hearing more about it. So, okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, one question we always ask everyone.
Yes.
I'll let you take this one.
Okay, so one question we always ask is, what's one piece of advice that you would give to somebody thinking about fostering?
Oh, okay. So I often go on the Welcome to Fostering virtual teams and talks where there'll be carers in the background listening. And they always come to us for sort of support or guidance. And I'll say to people, it can be a really bumpy journey. But those bumps can be ironed out. It can be successful. And if you can just bear with it sometimes, whether it be their behavior, whether it be their background, sometimes could be too traumatic for you. It might be something you're not used to. Just bear with it and keep going, because it is the most rewarding sentence you can say when someone says, "What do you do for a living?" I'm a foster carer. It is just so nice to be able to say those words, and not just say them, but mean them and feel them. And I remember growing up thinking, I wonder what I'll be when I grow up. I never thought I'd be a foster carer. And it's just a path that came my way, and it can be windy, but it's a great one.
I love it.
Thank you, Wes.
I love
Right.
that.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the perfect way to end episode 14 or
14.
18, depending on what Carrie
14.
thinks it is?
So yes, thank you very much, Wes. Thank
Yeah.
you everyone
Welcome.
for coming along and listening. And that concludes our episode 14.
See you
Happy
again
New
soon.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, well done. Thank you.
Thank you.